is just sending me. It's so funny just seeing this, like, fat version of Marin. It's just... Oh my goodness. It's so funny seeing all this stuff, animated for Season 2. And I'm not gonna lie, the latest episode of My Dress Up Darling, like, for Season 2, might be the funniest episode yet. Because Marin gaining weight, and then finding out how much she was eating to gain weight, is, I'm not gonna lie, it's hilarious. Like, here, let's just show it. So, Gojo here, he does the calculations. He calculates how much Marin had to eat, or how much she has been eating, and kind of getting to the bottom of how she managed to gain weight. So, I'm just gonna play this scene here. So, you can see him calculating in his head, he's pushing the numbers, putting it all together, and he comes to the conclusion, 50,000 calories. Yeah. Marin was eating a daily calorie count of 50,000. You realize how insane that is? Like, how is she alive, bro? How is she alive? Like, let's put this in perspective, okay? We really gotta look at this. The recommended level of calories per day for a normal human is 2,000. So doing the math here, Marin ate about 30 times more than the average daily calorie intake. That is insane. Like, I would feel like if someone ate that much on a daily basis, you would probably just straight up die. Like, you would have a heart attack. Because I don't think the normal human could be able to live on that or survive, because you're just gonna have some form of, like, intestinal problem or blockage or whatever, which I don't even want to imagine the bathroom situation. That's just oh my goodness, dude. What an episode of My Dress Up Darling. So, like, let's show where this all kind of, got discovered. So, basically, early on in the episode, around, like, the 5-minute mark or whatever, Marin starts to dress up in her cosplays, and she starts realizing that her outfits are not fitting her anymore. That they are no longer being able to snug tightly on her. They're now too tight to be able to put on. Basically, all her cosplays. And the reason why this is because anyone that has, been watching the series knows that when Gojo has been making her cosplays, he makes these designs very accurate to her body. For instance, her weight and everything and height. And so if she was to theoretically gain even just like 10 pounds, then obviously these outfits would get extremely tight on her, or would probably not even fit. So a lot of her very well-known or, famous outfits throughout the series, Season 1 and Season 2, Marin straight up can't even fit in them anymore. And so the entire objective right now with this episode is Marin going on a diet. And I'm not gonna lie, man. Let's show what Marin actually looks like, okay? Let's show what she looks like. So here it is, her realizing that she's gained weight. It's not as bad as it obviously what I was building it up to, but it is still funny. And honestly, it's impressive that she was able to eat 50,000 calories and not gain barely any weight. She just has a little bit of tummy fat, which, the reason why this even happens in the first place, why she starts getting really concerned about her weight besides the cosplay situation, is because she is told literally to go on a diet, because, like, she is, someone that takes pictures and stuff and all that. She's basically a model, so she's straight up told, like, you gotta go on a diet before, like, a certain deadline, and so that's why she goes to check and see if she actually has gained weight, and clear as day, she has. Now, obviously, Marin isn't like 300, 400 pounds or anything, but I just gotta say, oh man, it's so funny just seeing Marin freak out about something like that, but it's like it reminds me of an era, truthfully, of like the early 2000s. Like, if anyone doesn't remember, because some of you might be too young for it, but in the early 2000s, there was a lot of stuff like this. Like, for instance, the beauty standards and being skinny and all that, and you had people that legitimately were like as thin as a stick, okay? But if they gained slightly weight, like even 5 pounds, they would have to go forcefully on a diet. And in this case, this entire situation obviously reminds me of that. It's clearly very exaggerated with like the calorie intake, but it reminds me of that situation, and it's just hilarious. Like, this is just, I was sitting back laughing at this episode, just seeing her freaking out. But with that being said, one thing I do want to talk about before I kind of wrap up this video, because it's very quick, I love this camera segment, by the way. Like, this entire segment with the camera is just, I'm not gonna lie, out of everything from the anime of My Dress Up Darling, I gotta say, hands down, this might be the best animation segment of the entire series. And I don't say that lightly, because there's a lot of good scenes. There is straight up high quality stuff that honestly will stand the test of time decades from now. That's how good it is. And I think that this scene in particular is just a really big hallmarker, not just to My Dress Up Darling's quality of animation and art, but just in general of anime. Of animation itself. It is a testament to just how much animation is like evolved, the techniques that has evolved as well with anime to animate certain things. The environment behind her with these pictures being taken is legitimately some insanely high quality stuff with how CGI is used and 3D modeling and stuff. I can imagine that this entire segment took just a lot of time to be able to do, like animate. I would assume that months of work had to be put in to just this episode because of the techniques required to do some of this CGI and animation they did. But, yeah, overall, a fantastic episode of My Dress Up Darling. I love seeing Marin's reactions and how she is. It's wholesome, honestly, and Gojo being very supportive of her as well and helping her out. It's cute, it's funny, it's everything that I want, honestly, from an anime, and it's just one of those series that no matter how many times I watch an episode or watch clips or anything like that, it just leaves me with a smile, dude. And at the end of the day, that's all I want, that's all I ask for, and this is just, it's a great episode. Yeah, if you haven't watched this episode of My Dress Up Darling yet, you should, and if you haven't started the series, you should as well. Obviously, I was joking about Marin, you know, gaining enormous amount of weight, well, because obviously, you know, she doesn't look like the picture here that I'm showing, but she did gain weight, and that was the main focus of the episode. But obviously this is an exaggeration. I'm going to use this as a thumbnail. I wonder how many people I'm going to trick with this thumbnail. I am legitimately curious how many people will actually fall for this. Leave a comment down below if you were tricked by this thumbnail, or this image I will use for the thumbnail. Let me know. But anyways, guys, be safe, stay healthy, and I love you guys. See you tomorrow. Chibi out.